Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to this video. So let's make a thumbnail together in this video in Photoshop. I'm going to use these three images, number 1, number 2, and number 3. And I'm gonna turn that into this, okay? Without further ado, let's jump into it. So let's fire up your Photoshop. Let's create a new file, new photo. Click on Command N. Let's just name this thumbnail. The width is 2080 and the height is 720. So this is what YouTube recommends in terms of thumbnail size. Click on OK. There's a few things we're gonna do, okay? Number 1, I have an image here. It's a friend of mine. I'm going to open up on Photoshop. So what we do is there are a few elements, right? There's text in the thumbnail, there's background, as well as foreground in terms of like an object or a person. So in this case, I'm going to use him as an example. I'm going to use a magnetic lasso tool. I'm going to use this tool to select my object, trying to separate him from this current background. So eventually I'm going to cut him out of this photo. It's not perfect, but I'm going to use the second option. I'm going to just fine tune it a little bit. I'm going to hold on options, remove a portion of the selection. So make a region like that. And I'm going to fine tune this a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm holding option. So you see that little minus sign. What that allows me to do is to help me subtract a certain region that I select here. Just like that. You only have to do this once. Once you've done this, the rest will get easier. So this is most time-consuming part, but trust me, guys, it's going to be worth it. So far, that looks good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on Command X. Okay, it's going to cut him out of this photo, and I'm going to come to my thumbnail. I'm going to press Command V. Trying to paste that image here, and this image is really big. Okay, it's high resolution. Hold on Command T. And I'm going to resize this, trying to fit him in this image, just like this. Okay, that's pretty good to me. I'm going to search around in terms of the background as well as some elements. Okay, so a good website I recommend you guys to get some free content is called a free pick. I'm going to leave the link in the description. On here you can have hundreds and thousands of some sort of element or template on, let's say, Brain. And what I normally do is I'm click on free. License is free license. So here all the images here are free to download. You can just download them and use them freely. The one I'm going to use, I found, is going to be this one, and the background is going to be this chart. This is going to be a trading forex type of niche. So go ahead, download, and free download, and then it's going to be a zip file. Just unzip it. You're going to have a tool. These are the images I'm going to use. Just load them up on your Photoshop. So I'm going to place this on the bottom right corner, probably shrink it a little bit, okay? Don't worry about this black little box at the moment. And I'm going to create a new layer. This is going to be all the way at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my background on here, size it up a little bit. Just like that. And then it's not done yet. So what are we going to do is we're going to use erase tool. Make sure hardness is at 0. The size, let's see it accordingly. So the size, I'm using 188, so you can use it accordingly. What I'm going to do is just blend it with my background. So just like this. So I'm kind of removing the edge a little bit. So make it more blend with the background, just like that. That looks perfect to me. And I'm going to resize him a little bit. For him, I'm going to add some really popular trick that a lot of thumbnails do. I'm going to add drop shadow as well as outer glow. So right now is a red. We're going to go with a white. Outer glow is white. And then just tweak around with spread and size a little bit. Just make sure, and as well as opacity, make it 100. So don't make it too obvious. I like to make it around 20 is good. Size, let's use it around 13. Let's say 15. Okay, 15 is good. Lastly, the drop shadow. Let's see, the drop shadow looks good to me. Just remember, drop shadow, I normally keep it around 70% range. And the distance, you can just, each case is slightly different, so I normally tweak around with them. Just visually look at what looks good. Size is where it's going to shine, okay? So don't be afraid to crank it up. Thumbnails are all about dimensions, right? You need to have some sort of dimension in your image. That looks good to me. So we're going to tweak around with the background a little bit. So I'm going to rotate it. I'm click on Command T. Okay, come back to resize, and I'm going to just twist it a little bit, just like that. And that looks pretty good to me. So now there's a problem here, is that the brain and the background color, they kind of conflict with each other, right? Click on your background, click on Command U, and bring out the hue and saturations. Here I'm going to tweak around with the hue. So let's make this hue around, let's see, I like this kind of green, this kind of teal green kind of color. It's always catchy, so I'm going to go with it. Right now my background is a little bit too light. I'm going to come to my brush tool, make sure I select all the way to the black, dark, and then I'm going to click OK. I'm going to just make it slightly darker, okay? Just like that. And then the brain is the same thing. I'm going to blend it with the background by using a brush tool and black, and then just like blend it in a little bit, just like that. Okay, and just come to my erase tool one more time. I see there's a little bit of a fix I can do here, just like that, just like that. So that looks good. You see the brain and the chart is getting darker. We're emphasizing him. The title for this video is tips to skyrocket your focus in 4X. So you see, it's about focus. Remember, you don't have to mention exactly the words in your title. Some people do that. They repeat this title over again in their thumbnail. I don't recommend that because it's just overlapping the information. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say trade with focus. Okay. So come to a title, or click on T. So we're going to add some title here. So I'm going to do trade with. So I'm going to do 2 lines of title. Trade with is my first line. This is black. I'm going to select it all and go to white. Okay, we're going to decorate this a little bit. Just make sure the size is good. So that looks good to me. I'm going to select this layer, Command J. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and now we're going to make the second word. This is going to be focus. This is the key word for this specific video, right? It's about focus. So I'm going to enlarge focus. Okay, make sure they line up nicely like that. So that looks good to me. And then now let's come to trade with first. You can double click on the side and to open the layer style, or you can right click on blend options. What I always do is play around with the stroke, because this is going to give you an outer layer. I'll show you guys what I mean. Click on stroke, make sure it's checked, and come to outside. And then color, let me go with like a gray, very dark gray. Okay, that looks good. So just wanted to make it pop, right? And a little bit of drop shadow. So yeah, it stands out from the background. That looks good to me. Sometimes I'll play around with the color overlay or Guardian overlay. So these will give you some sort of really nice Guardian color. Definitely play around with that if you want to. But in this case, I'm happy with the white. All I'm going to do is right click on trade with. And I'm going to copy the layer style, and I'm going to right click on focus and paste the layer style. So they both have exactly the same layer style. And let's group them together. So I click on one layer, hold on shift and click on the other, make sure both are selected, and I'm going to group them. And then let's rename this text. So what I can do here is I can group, since I grouped them, I can resize them a little bit, just make sure they are sitting nicely on this graph. And then I'm going to change it around with my hue a tiny bit. So let's go with a tiny bit of that kind of green. I like that. Just drop another 6. That's good. And then I'm going to come onto my brain again. I'm going to click on Command U. I want to drop the saturation a little bit because it's too saturated, too much red. So let's just drop it around there. Okay, that's perfect. So now you can tell it looks pretty good. And last but not least, let's change him a little bit like this. Let's resize him. This is 2020, but I see a lot of people do this. You can try it as well. Just create a new layer sitting all the way on the top. I'm going to click on rectangular tool. I'm going to make a rectangular and make sure the fill is 0, is transparent. I'm going to right click on rectangular and click on blend options. What we do here is come to stroke one more time. This time we're going to change from outside to inside, okay? And then we increase the size to around 24, or you can make it thicker, but I like 24, 25. And then the color option, I'm going to hold on option on my keyboard so I can pick this color. It's going to be the same as background color like that, and then just make it bright. Okay, that's pretty good, and that looks good to me, and I'm happy with this. I'm just going to adjust the positioning a little bit and just make sure the text is sitting nicely here. So one more touch I would love to add on is a little bit of arrow. Let's search up arrow PNG. Okay, I found one. Just drag and drop onto your file, Photoshop file. Okay, so we're going to adjust this a little bit. Let's point from the brain to the text. So on the resize, remember Command T, right click, I'm going to flip horizontally. Okay, so let's point from the brain to the text. Just resize it a little bit so that looks really good. And last but not least, I'm going to right click on blend option again, and now we're going to overlay a color, which is this is automatically selected, this color. So if it's not, I would normally just click on the color again, hold on option just to pick this edge color. So just make sure both are matched. So that's perfect. And save your file, Command Option S, save it as a Photoshop, save a Photoshop file as well as a PNG. This is the one we're going to upload to YouTube, and click on save. It's going to be the large file, 12, quality will be 12 maxed out. Click on OK. So that's good. One more trick I can show you guys is come to your YouTube account, okay, your main page. If you see something that caught your attention, I think you should definitely do a screenshot. I've been doing that for a while, so now I have my own little library. You know, do that consistently, you would have your own little library. So later on, you can come in here for some inspiration, some color choice, and all that stuff. Because I have this Chrome extension, I will leave the link in the description. So what I do with this allows me to have a snapshot of the whole page. Okay, so let me show you. Click on this. It's going to capture, it's going to scroll all the way to the bottom and capture the whole. It's going to be a long one. Okay, that looks good to me. And just click on PNG download. Okay, and we're going to open this on Photoshop. And what do we do here is let's just crop it a little bit, so make it just showing these many rows is good. What I normally do is I would throw in my ready to go thumbnail one more time. So this time what it allows me to do is I can just overlay it on one of them. Okay, so what this allows you is to just like visually see how it looks like if your video thumbnail is looking good and the YouTube algorithm recommends it. And this is what it would look like. Okay, majority of some of my friends and clients channel, at least 30 to 50% of their views are coming from here. Okay, this is called a browsing feature. So this will be the last little touch for me, just to kind of visually to see how it looks like among other videos. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for future content. If you enjoy this specific one, definitely leave a comment below, let me know, so I can make a few more down the road for you guys. Okay guys, Tario sign out here. Until the next one, peace out.